Noelle felt her heart beat faster. The green cubicles around her seemed taller than usual. Her coworkers carried on their conversations with their own customers through the green walls surrounding her. She felt like she was in a prison. That's not going to do shit, you dumb bitch. The man's voice was shaky with anger. If Noelle could guess, the man was probably old enough to be her grandfather. In the upper right hand corner of her computer screen, Noelle read 8 minutes on the timer, though it felt more like 20 had gone by since she picked up the call. As she took her fingers off the keyboard, they brushed against a piece of paper next to her coffee cup. The old man continued throwing insults at her. The drawings on the paper were a collection of yarn and teddy bears dressed in various outfits. She was looking forward to her shift ending and for her heart to start beating at a normal speed. I'm sorry, sir. Please say that again? Noelle immediately wished she could take back her words. Dumb and deaf too? I've been a customer for years. Are you kidding me? The customer service here has gone to shit. I'm calling again. If I get you, I'm canceling my service. Sir, can you please unplug the router and plug it back in? That's all you need to do. A few snickers came from the other side of her cubicle. Sometimes it was hard remembering that she had coworkers beyond these green walls. Was the supervisor even here, and could he even help her? That's it. I've told you time and time again that's a shitty solution. Take me off the service. I've been a loyal customer for 10 years. You hear me? 10 years. Each time one of you useless monkeys tells me to unplug this damn fucking box, it never works. Where is your supervisor? Noelle pushed her headset a few inches away from her ears. The customer's voice was hurting her eardrums. She scanned her computer screen for a quick solution. The instant messenger window had a collection of names. One name was the supervisor, and underneath it, his status read away. Unlike other companies she had worked at, Noelle was not allowed to hang up the phone in order to escape this verbal abuse. Every word of a customer's mouth was valuable, according to White Wolf's rules. Sir, I can't cancel your service. Why couldn't this man just listen? Canceling someone's service required her to forward this call to a supervisor. Excuse you? I want a real solution. I'm not getting on my old ass knees. That router's on the floor, bitch. Do you hear me? You clearly don't. The timer showed 12 minutes now. Noelle's supervisor was still away from his desk. Noelle stared at the end call button on her computer screen. Was every word out of the customer's mouth really this important? Noelle firmly pressed on the end call button. The old man's insults ended mid-sentence. Her heart slowed down to a normal pace. What could she do now while she waited for another call? Noelle laid back against her hard chair, looking at the piece of paper next to her coffee cup. Why am I here? A low ringing sound brought her out of her thoughts. The supervisor's status now read available. A window appeared on screen with his name at the top of the window. Good evening, Noelle White. Noelle quickly typed a response. Yes? Turn your status to break and come into my office. Noelle lazily waved her hand to a coworker who was walking around with 2 cups of coffee. Mike smiled but quickly frowned and kept walking. Was it that obvious she was in trouble? The reflection in the front of the main office wooden doors window caused her to stop walking. Her skin was whiter. Her long red hair had random dirt in its strands, and there were bags underneath her brown eyes. What happened to her hygiene? Noelle White? In the room, she could see her team leader sitting by one of the chairs next to a wooden oval table. I want you to take a seat. Sure thing, she said. Stepping further into the office, she pulled a chair in front of him and sat. What's going on? You disconnected a call. Pence took a pencil from the fold of his ear and began tapping it on the stack of papers. Noelle White was written on top of one of those papers in red ink. Noelle's eyes grew wide. She did do that a few minutes ago. You do realize that we do monitor each and every single call. I know you do realize this. Tapping the pencil faster, Pence shook his head. Why lie? Recording customers' calls was one of the first things she went through in training. Also, you should remember how we grade each call. Sounds like I'm regurgitating the same garbage you've already learned and should already remember. Pence quit tapping the pen and put it into his shirt pocket. I know that. He wasn't listening. Her supervisor clasped his hands together and placed them over his gut. What do you think you could have done instead of ruining a long time customer relationship? The paper also had a long list of grades that were below expectations. Noel grimaced. I could have continued to tell him to unplug the router and then plug it back in. That's not wrong. Pence leaned back in his chair. Was he contemplating her answer that deeply? Or you could have escalated the call. You were away from your desk. That was one solution. What was Mike doing? What about Whitney? Harold? Jonathan? I don't know. Noel gripped the leather arm rest of her chair. Could you have told the customer to wait while you research a better solution? Pence tapped the top of his pen. What was a better solution? It was hard to keep her composure while under this test. At least she was no longer spacing out. Pence's wrinkled face was vividly in front of her. Of all the things to focus on now. If I could research how to get him to listen, maybe I would have. Pence opened his mouth, but then he paused. You look like you need a break. It's slow here. You should go home now. Noel glanced at the clock hanging on the wall in front of her. But, it's only 3 and my shift ends at 5. I know, Noel. Believe me, we all know. Pence went back to tapping the pen on his stack of papers. Noel stared at the papers again. Why are you constantly sending me home? Pence's eyes widened. Again, it's slow. It's really slow. And you look really, really worn out. I'm afraid you might pass out. Phones rang left and right outside of the office walls. Are you sure? Pence took the papers and smiled. Come back tomorrow and start the day fresh. Okay. There were still 6 months left on her contract. Noelle stood up from her chair, feeling that the conversation was over. Good. We'll see you tomorrow. Noelle sat in her chair, staring idly at her phone. She was leaving early for the 3rd time this month. Had anyone else besides her left before their shift ended? Where would Noelle drive to this time? Would she go to Wendy's or buy something from the store? If anyone at home saw her before 5, there would be hell. At least she could waste time in Walmart. When it was 5 o'clock, she could leave. A drop of water fell onto her front window. It's raining? If her spot at White Wolf was not so secluded, maybe she would have noticed and took her umbrella from underneath her desk. Noelle decided to drive to Walmart. There were always cheaper options for food in that store. A vibration on the left side of her hip interrupted her thought as she began driving out of her parking space. Noelle drove her car back into the parking space and turned it off. She tapped answer on her phone screen. This is Angie Hawthorne from Renard Systems. Is this Noelle I'm speaking with? What could her temp agency be calling about now? They already gave her enough tips to perform better at White Wolf. Yes, this is Noelle White. Hello, Hawthorne. Good. We wanted to let you know that things weren't working for you at White Wolf. Mr. Pence is very, very thankful for your time with his company. He says you've been a great help and... But that's not right. My contract is good for another 6 months. That's what he told me. She gripped the steering wheel hard. There was a long pause on the phone. Noelle, your performance was not acceptable in the slightest. Pence gave you a lot of chances, but today was the last straw. On top of that, we've placed you in multiple positions. Pence is the only manager who has said anything remotely positive about you. The papers on the table were beginning to make sense. Was there a way to save herself now? What did I do wrong? I came in early. I wore really nice outfits. Hawthorne made a disgusted sound. I told you time and time again, there's no need to dress up for White Wolf. If you're uncomfortable behind the phones, then the customers will feel that. Noelle looked herself down, wishing she could put on some black jeans before she left the house. Don't you have anything else for me? Another long pause again. You have your Security Plus certification. You're a smart, talented girl, Noelle. I'll call you again when something becomes available, okay? Granted the beauty of being behind the phone, Noelle slumped into her chair. Okay. All right? The call ended before Noelle fully realized that Hawthorne wanted a response. Was the internet technology field really for her? 3 jobs from Renault Systems, and no permanent placement like Anji promised. Rain hit her car hard. Noelle was startled by the sudden downpour. Was she still going to Walmart? Water covered her window, making it hard to see even the cars parked in front of her. Noelle rubbed her forehead and then ran her hand through her hair. No, her umbrella was still inside of her old cubicle. She still had her security badge with her. Like all the other jobs, Noelle knew she would have to turn this back in at some point. Why not now instead of later? My umbrella. If today was yesterday, then Noelle would have been concerned. She was wearing a black suit and not the uncomfortable white dress she wore yesterday. Noelle opened the car and ran across the street. At 4, there was a chance that some co-workers were on break or walking around the building looking for a good place to smoke. The glass sliding doors flew open after Noelle scanned her badge against the security door. The security guard eyed her and then went back to resting his head on the palm of his hand. She tripped on the smooth floor, leading toward the double wooden doors. It was pitch black through the windows of the closed wooden doors. Pence couldn't be in there now. Finally, Noelle reached the hallway leading to the room with her old cubicle. Small droplets of water hit the carpet. She didn't realize the rain had soaked her clothing this badly. What's up, Noelle? All the online stores are doing Cyber Week. Can you believe it? Did you catch any good deals? Mike walked toward her with his cup of coffee in one hand. It's raining outside? Hey! Noelle walked past him quickly. Mike was always a talkative type. Cyber Week. That was the last thing she wanted to be reminded of now that she was running low on money. Everything was as she left it in her cubicle. She took the coaster, the drawings, and then her umbrella. Water dripped onto her desk, but she did not feel like cleaning it up at all. Putting the paper inside of her soaked pockets would ruin it. Noelle wiped her free hand on her office chair, folded the paper, and clutched it tightly in her fists. It was better to have the paper folded than soaking wet. She quickly left her desk before any more of her former co-workers could see her or suspect that she was being let go. Noelle felt adrenaline rushing through her body. At her last job, 2 men approached her and escorted her out of the building in front of everyone. That was not going to happen this time. Stopping by the entrance, she looked at the security guard. Holding her items close to her, she took the badge off of her skirt and handed it to him. The guard looked up, raising his eyebrows. What is this, sweetie? Noelle looked around. There was no one in sight. The security guard looked in the same directions. Excuse me? It's my badge. Take the badge, please. Noelle held the badge closer to him. I know it's your badge, sweetheart, but why are you handing me this? I thought you kids would be here for a long while. That burned. Noelle had to think of something. Footsteps were coming from the hallway. Isn't that a lot of money, Mike? Is that Whitney? Who cares? Who cares? The laptop's half off, and I'm going to splurge like nobody's business. Mike and Whitney were getting closer. Some things don't work out. Not wanting to cause a scene, Noelle dropped the security badge on his desk and headed for the door. You're a sweet girl, Noelle. God bless you. That concludes the reading for Life for a Purse. If you like this book, this ebook is 99 cents on Amazon Kindle. If you want to support me and receive longer readings of my current ebooks and updates on my work before anyone else, my Patreon is in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching and have a nice day, guys.